alla, lernen knichtas. Welcome to these Old English Grammar Bites, videos that will help you to understand Old English grammar at your own pace. You can watch these videos as often as you want, or you can pause and rewind if things are going too fast for you. Good luck and enjoy. In this video, we'll concentrate on Old English nouns. In particular, we'll look at the difference between strong nouns and weak nouns. But let's start by locating the nouns on Peter Baker's Old English magic sheet. There it is. We can find the nouns in the top left corner of the magic sheet. Let's zoom in. As you can see, Old English nouns, like the pronouns and the nominative pronouns, have a variety of inflectional forms, corresponding to the various cases, whether the nouns are singular or plural, and the various grammatical genders. In addition, you can see that nouns fall into various categories: strong nouns, weak nouns, use-stem nouns, and athematic nouns. In this video, we'll not bother with the last two and focus instead on the strong nouns and the weak nouns. Let's continue with strong nouns. Strong nouns make up about 60% of all nouns in Old English. It's very important, therefore, that you learn how to recognize their forms and that you understand how they work. Let's zoom in. Let's start with the easiest group of strong nouns, the masculine ones, which follow the pattern of Bart, boat, Bart, Bart, Bartus, Barter, Bartos, Bartos, Barta, Bartum. As you can see, masculine strong nouns have a different form for almost every case. Only the nominative and accusative singular and the nominative and accusative plural have the same form. In practice, you'll often know from the context whether your noun is nominative or accusative. For instance, by looking at the nominative pronoun that belongs to the noun. Say Bart is nominative, but Thornabart is accusative. Next up are the neuter strong nouns, which again shows us different forms for almost every case. But here we also see an important distinction between nouns with a short stem, like ship, and nouns with a long stem, such as thing. As it turns out, neuter strong nouns with a long stem, like thing, have the same form for the singular nominative and accusative, and the plural nominative and accusative. Compare this to the neuter strong nouns with a short stem, like ship, which have a plural nominative and accusative form marked with u, shipu. So when is a stem long and when is it short? Here's the simple but effective rule. If the nominative singular form of the noun ends in a short vowel followed by one consonant, as in ship, it is short. In all other cases, it is long. That is, when the noun ends in a long vowel followed by one consonant, as in barn, bone, or when the noun ends in a short vowel followed by two or more consonants, as in ward, bed, and land. You may not have realized this, but this distinction between short and long-stemmed neuter strong nouns still affects the English we speak today. Why is it that the plural of sheep is sheep and not sheeps? Well, this is because in Old English, the noun sheap was a strong neuter noun with a long stem. There's a long diphthong and one consonant. Hence, there was no specific plural form. That sheap, tha sheap. And that's why we still say one sheep, two sheep, not one sheep, two sheeps. Note that in Old English, you could still make out whether one was talking about one sheep or multiple sheep if the appropriate forms of the demonstrative pronoun were used. That sheap would be singular. Tha sheap would be plural. The feminine strong nouns, finally, show a similar discrepancy between long and short stems. This time, however, the short-stemmed strong nouns get an u in the nominative singular form, whereas the long-stemmed strong nouns do not. This does not cause as much confusion as the distinction between short and long-stemmed neuter nouns, so we'll just accept this and move on. Now that we've looked at the strong nouns, let's look at the weak nouns. Whereas the strong nouns make up about 60% of the nouns in Old English, the weak nouns make up about 30%. They're rather easy to recognize since most of the forms end in on. This also means that you will usually have to look at the demonstrative pronoun or the adjective to find out whether, say, the noun namon is accusative singular, genitive singular, dative singular, or nominative accusative plural. Weak nouns have 3 different genders. Masculine weak nouns have a nominative singular ending in a, as in knappa, boy, guma, man, and oxa, ox. Neuter weak nouns are very easy to recognise because there are only 3 of them: eache, era, and wanga, eye, ear, and cheek. Feminine weak nouns have a nominative singular ending in such as suna, sun, and tunga, tongue. This weak noun declension has all but disappeared in modern English, but we can still see a trace of it in the plural of ox, oxen. This en ending, which you can also find in child, children, is a remnant of the on ending that is so characteristic of weak nouns. With that, I hope you understand the difference between strong nouns and weak nouns. The terms weak and strong may be somewhat confusing. We owe the terminology weak and strong to this man, Jacob Grimm, whom you might know from fairy tales, but he was also an influential linguist. And he decided that the paradigms with a lot of inflectional variety were to be called strong, whereas the paradigms with very few inflectional variants were to be called weak. Remember that the weak nouns mostly end in on, so there is very little inflectional variety there. He also noted that the weak paradigms are typical for Germanic languages like Old English, German, and Dutch. The strong paradigms are much older because we also find them in other Indo-European languages. Weak and strong might be confusing, but it's worth remembering that the inflectional endings of the weak nouns are similar to the inflectional endings of the weak adjectives. So it's very helpful to use those terms. And if you still can't stomach the difference between weak and strong, please blame this guy and not me. Thank you.